afternoon or good morning. Hi,
Good morning.
hello. Hi, I'm Dr. Moby with Lifestyle TV, and let's welcome our two guests, Vinnie and Amber. How are you two doing, Amber?
Doing fantastic. Thank you.
I just got to say,
Uh-huh.
we do StreamYard podcasts and we don't have an intro. Like, did you see that intro, Amber? That was like
That was
uptown.
amazing.
Yes, blew my mind. I dug it.
Oh, really? Oh, you like it?
Yes, felt like I was I was about to get on the View or Ellen or something like that.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, and I have it. I'll be very happy to share that with you. We created for our shows, and kind of
Yeah,
go over that. Thank you for coming. And I know it's cold day up in Tennessee, right?
it is.
And it's cold up here too. So I want to also ask you one by one. So if you can give for our audience sake, tell me a little bit about yourself one by one.
All right. Well, my name is Vinnie Vineyard. I've spent most of my life in entertainment, pro wrestling, radio, stand-up comedy. I was a touring bass player for a hip hop and funk band, and now we're starting to make independent movies, which is absolutely the most rewarding and fun thing I've ever done. And I'm the co-creator of Big and Funky Productions
Mm-hmm.
and head writer, director, actor, and I've kindled my friendship with Amber over our last movie. She was an actress, and she came up and she composed some music, and she did makeup, and she's now on the team. Amber, if you want to tell him what you're about.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Amber Schultz, and I have a rather interesting background. I actually grew up in a pretty closed religious sect, and as I grew up, I started getting introduced into, as I grew out of it, I was introduced into theater,
Mm-hmm.
and I really loved the creative arts, the visual arts.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I moved into working into costuming and set production and different things like that. And I did some reenactment TV, and I've done some cameos in some of Vinnie's TV shows over the years. And this last year, Vinnie cast me in his second movie, and from being an actress, I moved into composer, makeup artist, videographer, and now into PR work in the interim between the two. We're getting ready to film another movie, so I'm doing PR in the interim.
Okay, very nice. And what was the name of the movie you both did? I think.
It's WJHCAM, and it's about a radio station in La Follette, Tennessee.
Okay, very nice, very nice. So also tell me a little bit about who is writing your movie scripts. So.
I have a tag team partner. He's he's 7 feet tall. He's called Big Luke. He's a mountain of a man, and he's a very creative guy. And he comes up with a lot of concepts. However, this movie that we're promoting now, our second, we've got 6 movies in this thing called the Smoky Mountain Chronicles, where we kind of go over their horror comedies about all these different types of legends through the Smoky Mountains, and this one is really about my life. When I first moved down south and tried to get into radio,
Uh-huh.
the only job I could get was at a Southern Gospel radio station, and it was mind blowing. The hijinks and the and the stuff going on. If you're not exposed to that when you're young, it's pretty alarming. It looks like Gypsy Rose Lee type stuff, or gymnastics happening in a. So anyway, it was pretty
Mhm.
wild.
Mhm.
And then we combined it with this movie. We combined that. We were like, let's make it a horror movie, and so this is like if Y2K was the end of the world, like everybody thought back then, or not everybody, but a lot of people thought, doomsday preppers and super religious people. What if Y2K really was the end of the world, and the Lord came back, and what was left was all the a-holes that didn't believe right or whatever, and they had to fight off the evil of the night. So it's kind of like a combination comedy and horror, but it's pretty funny all throughout.
Well, that sounds very funny and kind of different,
It is
because
very different.
you want to convey your message, but you also want to create that sense of humor.
Yes, it is
Very nice.
funny.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. So, also tell me, Amber, which part you like most, acting, or different roles, marketing?
I actually really love working behind the scenes in the production side of it.
Mm.
I do enjoy acting. It's fun being in front of the camera, but there's something about being part of the bigger picture behind the scene, making like the wheels turn, that just really kind of resonates with me. And
Mhm.
so as Vinny puts it, sometimes I tend to like roll in and I fill in the cracks whatever's needed.
Mhm.
I tend to kind of show up and fix it or do it, and try to make things go work. And that's really fulfilling for me. So.
Okay, very nice. So, right now you have done both roles, right? You have done in front as well as but you tend to enjoy more of the one behind the scenes now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, I think is that where you want to go next year or years to come, more into?
Yes, actually, in the next movie we're getting ready to film, Camp Smokey. We're starting that in the spring. I'm assistant director, and I'll be doing production work behind the scene and doing a lot of film work, like a lot of the videography for that movie. So, I'm really excited for that opportunity to work with that.
Okay, I want to also ask you about for the filmmakers and what avenues have you thought about now with COVID? So tell me a little bit more about of course, pre-COVID was a different era, but now post-COVID and COVID, what are we going to have more digital? Are we going to have more Netflix? What is the next step?
Well, I think nobody really knows right now. I mean, the reason we got into making movies, we were making paranormal television for a small network, and then Luke was like, "Well, Luke's been wanting to do a movie for a long time," and then COVID hit, and then I
Mhm.
read an article that said all production is stopping in Hollywood, and that's when I was like, "Baby, it's time to rock." So that's when we did our first movie called The Hike, which is now on Amazon Prime, and it's well received and won awards all over the country. It's a funny movie in itself, but as far as what the future holds, I heard an interview with Quentin Tarantino, and he said, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and The Joker were probably going to be the last $300 million. Wait, what did I say? Ugh, I woke up early. $300 million movies that people go and sit on their butt at a theater and watch, and that wasn't a superhero movie. And I think he's probably right. Spider-Man has saved a lot of cinemas around the country, but I do think it's like Blockbuster, man. It's going to be, I think people really do like going to the movies. It's a great date idea. It's a good way to meet somebody and stuff, but I do think it's going to be tougher to see theatrical releases for things like romantic comedies or dramas that don't have a lot of action. I think superhero movies and once in a blue moon a boisterous high budget comedy or something or a high falutin horror movie may get some money, but I think we're going to see theater change. It's going to be all digital pretty soon. Everything's going to be in your stinking phone before too long. That's going to be unfortunate, I think.
Yeah, and I think with all those, also you were right about shooting. I think there was a pause because of COVID, and that was also my thought too. That now people like me who was just kind of not as big as Hollywood was before. So I said, okay, well, this is the time to start. So COVID really gave me a break too. I would say that
Yeah.
because I wasn't there before. So.
Yeah. Well, it was an opportunity. I mean, you got to all catastrophes breed opportunities. So that was one where we were in front of the bullet there for once.
Yeah, no, that I just can, and I think, a lot of with look at StreamYard, and, like we are doing like this. Imagine pre-COVID, anybody interested in that? Not really, you know. So definitely it has changed the landscape for sure. I think towards better. But you're right, all those big budgets, and look at music.
Oh yeah.
So music, we used to have, I'm sure, do you remember those CDs and platinum and all those big numbers and all that? Now, this everything is digitalized, and you can have any song go on Spotify or anything. Anybody can release pretty much.
It
Mm-hmm.
it was we were signed and I was in a band that was signed and shelved. Uh, Rock and roll died when Napster came out about 20 years ago, 21 years ago. And we couldn't play any music. We had to go by another name of a band and start playing hip hop and funk covers as three white guys. And we did well, but rock and roll died. There's not been rock and roll bands. There's not been funk bands. There's not been hip hop bands. There's not been those sexy R&B bands from the 90s after the year 2000. And music changed. And it was weird because music videos died because MTV died, and now everybody's doing music videos again because everybody's wanting to get YouTube hits, and they're trying to figure out ways to monetize their music. And the only way that musicians are making money is playing live music. Very rarely and very few and far between are recording artists making a living just by selling units, because nobody's buying anything. Everybody's subscribing and downloading and all that stuff. And then again, the converse of that is everybody is on the same playing field. But again, when you have 50 million artists screaming for your attention, you just don't pay attention to any of them. That's the other side
Yeah,
of the coin. So it's very strange. You have to come up with very unique ways to market yourself, and it's very tough. And I've said before, it's like nowadays you listen to Amber, she's got all those hats, I've got all those hats, we've got a team of people, magicians, comedians, musicians, pro wrestlers, drag queens, furries, all these knucklehead people that help us, and they all wear hats. And when you create a movie, you can't just be a director anymore. You got to be the editor, you got to be the promoter, you got to be the writer, you got to star in it, you got to do grip work, you got to do sound design, you got to play music, you got to figure out how to do the business end of the deal. That's the challenge now. Is you just can't. It's very hard for somebody just to be a great one thing. You have to be a master of you can't even be a jack of all trades. You got to be a master of several trades, and partner up with people that can complement your weaknesses. It's difficult to get out there for sure.
No, I think you said it perfectly right. So there is a new landscape, of course, and then in this new landscape, I think people who were kings before are no longer there because, first of all, overheads are huge. So if you had huge overheads and even making movies, and those movies do really bad because they are not going to get reimbursement. People, I think this is opportunity people like me and you too, that which basically we have lesser overhead in as compared to the big organizations. And I think there will be a new landscape for sure. um, Talking about music videos, absolutely. Music without now just for song sake, I don't think it'll be as easy because anybody can create now, those videos and clips, and they can post on TikTok or YouTube. And I was, I think, watching one of the country singer, I think was Tennessee based, probably, had a huge hit because the daughter got him on TikTok.
I need a daughter that knows TikTok. I mean, that's the other thing too. Is at a certain point, I'm 47. So at some point, like I get Facebook. I'm the king of Facebook. Instagram is more millennial, Snapchat, and then now there's all this stuff with the Zoomers,
Mm.
that Discord and TikTok, and I'm just like, I don't understand it, and I don't even like it. And it's like we've got to indoctrinate a 19-year-old kid into our ranks to kind of get us on social media, because really, you watch late night television, Stephen Colbert versus whoever, Jimmy Kimmel. They're not competing against each other like when I grew up. David Letterman versus Jay Leno versus Conan O'Brien versus Johnny Carson. They're competing against everybody who has a cell phone.
Yeah.
Everybody is competing because people are watching 7-second videos that are vapid and desperate and just kind of derivative of everything else. And it's really, that's what entertainment has become in a lot of people's mind, are these little stupid videos that don't take any production, and they don't take any talent really to do a lot of that stuff. But that's what's feeding the masses right now. So you have to figure out, how can I monetize? And I hate money. Don't get me wrong. I hate that money is a part of this, but you got to make money to make movies. You can't run around with an iPhone and make a 2-hour movie that's interesting. You got to have, so I'm competing against people providing so much free content. It's very difficult to figure out how to get a piece of the pie. And that's part of the fun and the struggle of it too.
And that is true, because a lot of competition is there, but monetization is important. And for I think for any business to survive, for us to continue this creative process, we need to make some money to at least pay our bill, or at least I think there will be a new landscape. I think right now, because of the crisis, I think because of COVID crisis, whatever, this has really changed. But I think once the dust settles, then there will be a new kind of way of making money. I think might not be as huge as before, or could be actually. Uh,
It
for
could be.
example, I give example of Amazon, or yeah, small stores or other type of big stores are closing for sure. You know, but look at, they become the richest people on face of earth.
Well, I don't know how old you are, but you look like you've been around for a minute. I don't think you're as old
No,
as that. I
quite
don't.
old.
Yeah.
I'm older than both of you.
Okay. But so like, whoever thought newspapers would be in danger of going out of business? Whoever would have thought taxi cabs or Blockbuster, or you just go down the list of everything that's a dinosaur. There's everything's turning into a stagecoach now.
Mhm.
So Amazon, I think at one point, I mean, it's not going to stay on top forever. There's going to be something to usurp that at one point. And the key is trying to figure out where to be, not trying to go where the puck is, to use the Wayne Gretzky ice hockey. You
Yeah.
go where the puck is going to be, and that's the one thing in my career that Luke and I did, is when there was an opportunity in the movie industry, it was like, let's do it now. We got to pull the trigger now. So we stopped everything and we did it now, and it's helped us, because there was so much people need movies in this country and around the world, and we were able to get on the train, so to speak, because there was just no content. And so now it's that we've got a little bit of heat. There's people that like our first movie. We just got to keep building that, and try to figure out how to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. How to keep, because it's all just stories. It goes back to sitting around, cavemen around a campfire. You're just trying to figure out a new way to tell stories, and that's what music is. That's what movies are. That's what books are. So that's what stand-up comedy is. All these forms of entertainment is just telling stories over and over again, and that's what humans love that. and we're trying got to figure out how to make it fresh and fun in the future and during a pandemic.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the other thing which I have seen before, even pre-COVID, for some reason Hollywood was out of new material. They were making those do those sequels, or but
Absolutely.
I was not seeing anything new, like
Mhm.
and that's like, really they don't have anything to offer more than so I think this is like COVID is like I think a transition in a way that would have been demise of Hollywood, because they they was gonna die anyway. So then the COVID, it got infected with COVID. Okay, now that's now the new norm. Okay, now they say, oh, blame it on COVID because it's everything is gone. But I think a lot of things like like you said, our history is always about storytelling, enjoying, and having fun. And it'll be a new dawn, new era where we will be actually doing more, but little different, way different. There will be more creativity. I think, throughout history, whenever we are challenged by any pandemic or anything like that, it kind of intrigues human nature to come up with more creativity. And I think that's what's going to happen, is that we will have far more new stories. I mean, we have so many stories on COVID and pre post COVID. All, I mean, I was able to write 3 songs. I'm not a songwriter by any means. Okay, never ever thought in my life I will do that. Okay, so but look what COVID did, because it just kind of created all that for me. At least I can tell. I'm doing my first movie. Uh,
Good.
yeah, yeah. And I said, okay, well, it's not about just kind of making that big numbers. It's about telling your story, or is about actually feeling. I think it's like a exhaust for us too. And we're all stressed. We're all stressed in many ways.
Well, I can see why you're a doctor. That's a very astute observation. I think Hollywood really was in trouble, and they go with safe bets. So they're like, they don't want to spend $100 million on a crazy new concept with new actors. They're going to recast the Addams Family for the 99th time or whatever. They're going
Mhm.
to redo the Dukes of Hazzard or Beverly Hills Cop with new actors or something. And that's safe money for them. So what that does is it eliminates really talented people with really interesting stories. And I think our stories, you're never going to see movies like these. They're new voices, and maybe it's because we don't know what the hell we're doing, but a lot of it is because we just our influence is so crazy and so varied that our stories are so different. And we decided to do this Y2K story because it's so similar to right now. It's doomsday. Half the country thinks the other half is going to wreck the country. The other half thinks the other half's going to wreck the country. There's a pandemic. People are having trouble keeping it together. There's financial disaster looming over our heads. So it's a similar time. So it's a similar story that's needed right now. And that's look at you. You're writing songs. You're making a movie. Amber is finally back to doing creative stuff. So I think there's a lot of artists right now with the pandemic that have gotten back on the horse. That's a very positive way to look at something
Mhm.
that's really been a very negative spot in the worldwide history.
Hmm. And I think the only thing I would say about TikTok and other, I see a common theme in all most of the videos which are kind of more popular. They're like, I think I don't see that very creative. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
I just see they have this kind of dance. They take their clothes off or something on those lines. That's not creativity. There's nothing creative about that. Okay.
or they're just doing their own video of an idea that is trending.
Yeah.
So they're just doing, it's like my face is now doing the same crap that everybody else has done. Who cares, But
Yeah.
whatever.
So very few I see that, but they get hits. That's very good. But I don't think. I mean, personally, I don't. I'm not entertained by that. But the other thing is, it's very fascinating. From Tennessee, we have movie making now. Who thought of that? And people thought always country music, and right? I mean, the first thing about Tennessee, country music, country music.
And I hate it. I can't stand it. It drives me
Me too.
crazy.
I'm
I
not a
can't.
country music
I
fan,
hate
and I
country
was
music.
born and raised in the South, so.
But it is also the birthplace of blues,
Yeah.
barbecue. It used to be good for football. But I'm from Baltimore originally, and
Oh.
I think Amber you're from Tennessee, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I have my relative. He moved to Tennessee because he's doing music, and he says, "Oh, I'm going to move there because there is so much music and all." So I said, "Well, no, no, don't do that. No need to do that. You can create music anywhere in the world."
Yes.
That's true. And Nashville is a dog eat dog city. A lot of people go there, and it's what it is, though. I mean, that's people want to go and go to Nashville and Memphis and notch their name in the pantheon of music history. But Tennessee's a great place to live. Every dream I've ever wanted to accomplish was in Tennessee. It's a great place.
Yeah, I
It's close to the East Coast, so if I want a Philly cheesesteak, or if I want soft shell crabs, or if I want to go eat in Chicago or New York, it's not that far from all that. So it's still pretty cool.
Okay, yeah, my memories from Tennessee was back in, I think, 95. I was stuck in snowstorm, and they diverted the bus towards Tennessee because they couldn't come to West Virginia area, so they diverted more south, and then they took all the way around from there. So I was on Greyhound for 48 hours.
Oh my God, you'll age a year.
Yes.
I own a taxi cab company, and when I used to drive, I picked up a Hispanic man at the Knoxville, Tennessee bus station, and I said, "Where are you coming from?" He's like, "Mexico City." I'm like, "Holy God, how long was the Greyhound bus from Mexico City to Knoxville, Tennessee?" He said, 8 days.
Why?
I was like, "You've aged 5 years. You've seen people die and born, and there's no telling what you've seen on a Greyhound bus for 8 days. You've seen somebody eat somebody else, a zombie attack. There's no telling what you've seen."
Yeah, it's funny. That's true. But I was stuck because of the storm. They said we couldn't go there, so we're gonna go to Tennessee, Knoxville. And that's the Greyhound station. That's all I remember.
The
After
Knoxville Greyhound station is the worst part of the city, too.
It really is.
It looks like a city that lost a war. The Knoxville bus station. It's terrible there.
But I've heard great things for sure about Smoky Mountains, and I think I wanted to visit for sure. I will come, and I have few friends moved now, and I think a lot of businesses are moving there. I don't know why. They probably changed the tax code or something.
The taxes, you can live here so cheap. Taxes are cheap. Housing is cheap, even though it's going up all over the place. You can still buy a decent house for $200,000 or less. So there's a lot of the property taxes are low. You can own a business for next to nothing. It's just a great place. There's no state income tax, so it's great. It's a great place. Like if you're a Tennessee Titan, I know you're a Steelers fan and I'm a Jets fan, but if you're a Tennessee Titan, there's no state income tax. Man, that's a great place to play football for.
Okay, great. And now I know. But next time I don't have to go to Greyhound. And I can call both of you and I say, guys, let's connect. Where are you based? So I would love to come and visit you both. So sure, that would be fun. So any final thoughts or message you have for our show?
Go, Amber.
Um, well, if you guys would be so kind, we can go visit our website at biginfunkyproductions.com, and you can see all of our creative genius on there. Our skits links, our movie links, our paranormal links, our backstory, just a whole bunch of stuff on there. And you can also follow us on YouTube at Big and Funky Productions. And we have a podcast every Thursday. And we interview guests and we talk about, different things, and we just have a lot going on. So
Okay, very nice, very nice. Well, this is one of the first few interviews I had where our female person did not speak as much as two men. This is unique.
Well, I'm known to kind of run all over everybody, so I'm trying to stop talking so much. It's just,
No,
I'm
we
an
had
enemy
fun.
of brevity. I'm an enemy of brevity.
We had fun for sure, and we, whatever Amber did, it was fun, and I can imagine why she's behind now, seeing because she's trying to get all of us organized. Right.
yes,
That's right.
it's like herding cats. I'm not gonna lie.
And
It's
there's
bringing them all together.
And there's not just me. There's about 7 or 8 personalities like mine. We're all pro
Yes.
wrestlers, so we're all loud and rambunctious and egotistical, I guess.
Well,
Yes,
that's
they
great.
call me the stage mom because I tend to just kind of keep everything together. I'm the one with band-aids and snacks and all the things on top of everything else.
Orange
so.
slices, juice
I
box.
see. I
Yep.
can see now. Right now, I know why Amber decided to look behind the scenes and try to help everyone. Very nice, Amber.
Thank
So,
you.
anything else, Vinny, you would like to say?
Just if you want to catch a flavor of what we're about, The Hike on Amazon Prime is a horror comedy about a Native American legend, and it's an irreverent horror comedy. It's a unique movie, and our next movie is completely different. Still got that same humor, but it's a retro fish out of water trope movie that I think a lot of people, not a lot of people have seen it, but a lot of people have seen it. Said it's one of the funniest movies they've seen. And I'm talking insiders, not just friends of mine or whatever. So I think it's going to be a movie that, if it does get seen, it's going to be something people are going to talk about. It's WJHCAM, and if you need help remembering those letters, just think W Jesus H Christ.
Wow.
AM. Yeah. So.
I really had absolutely fun talking to both of you. And really enjoyed your perspective, and I think it is new dawn, new era. But one thing for sure, we'll find a way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We won't sit idle. Well, thank you guys for coming, both of you.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Okay.